Sup. The opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and Future Bachelor only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity. This fun podcast may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor Podcast.
Things to think about.
Yeah, well, some more things to think about. What else we got going on?
So we've got an update on the Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez situation.
What's up?
So Meg, went live last Thursday, so, when our podcast had just dropped, and saying how she's like, let me just clear some stuff up. Tory Lanez shot me, and she cleared up, how he had been, using his team, his publicist or whatever, to get, the blog saying stuff about her, or, lying.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's what she's saying, due to what all was being put out there based on what she thinks was coming from him. And then she's like, because she talked a lot about how she was trying to keep this whole thing off the internet, or was trying to not make it big news. And she's like, and she talks about how when the police initially came, she didn't initially say that it was Tory, because she said that she was scared. And that, she's like, there's black people. She's like, we're black people. And the police were there. And she's like, how am I not supposed to be afraid? And she's like, I wasn't going to throw him under the bus, because she's like, I wasn't going to say whatever, because she's like, then what if any of us started to say anything or whatever, we could have all gotten shot, whatever stuff along those lines. So that's what she's been saying about why it came out the way it did, and why, and she just pretty much went off being why Tory was he keeping up with all the lies, and everything like that, when she's like, all she did was try to protect him from the beginning, and that's how she gets repaid.
How do you think this would be different if it was Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson?
If it was Ariana Grande
and Pete Davidson
people would believe Ariana Grande in a second, because she's no,
but I'm talking about even the news coverage, the Megan Thee Stallion thing is is it all over the news and stuff? If Ariana Grande got shot by another pop star or another famous person, celebrity, it would be all over the news. This is
and this was all over the news, but it's all over the news and people making jokes out of it, which is even worse. People were like, Meg got shot, I guess, or making memes and stuff and all of that, instead of actually taking this woman was injured. She was wounded fully.
Yeah, I mean that's a bigger look. I wonder what it's even us when we're talking about it. It's just are we desensitized? Are we getting to a point where we, and is there a racial thing? If it was,
there's for sure a racial thing.
What is that?
Well, if you think about it, the black woman is the most forgotten, most oppressed woman one of, that's a quote. I forget who said it, but because and the black women have, we've talked about it in prior things, how even other black female stars and whatever have come and always stood up for the black men, because, black men tend to be, their reputation tends to be made to be violent or whatever, and they've always stood up for them and done all these things. I'm even thinking about in pop culture how they've been portrayed. I'm thinking about Empire and how Cookie Lyon was the one who took the fall for, her husband in the show and things like that. And so black women,
I think the bigger thing that there's out there is also, because black women they know the struggle of black people right now, and it's they're in a rock and a hard place of trying to protect a black man, even in a situation like Megan Thee Stallion, she has every right to be scared that it doesn't matter if he shot her foot, she probably does not want him to die by lethal
by
force
police,
of police.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So, at which point I would understand why somebody would say, something, especially I don't know. It's just super complicated now because, you know, that's like some lawyer stuff. Like, that's like when you get into a court of law, it's like, well, then she lied then. What makes you think she's not lying now? Like, you know, and it gets complicated, especially when it's like someone like Tory Lanez had so much going for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what it's like to be with like in a pool with you and Megan Thee Stallion and Kylie Jenner. Like, you're at like the top of celebrityness, you know, and then the next day to just like have everything like be taken away, or, you know, rightfully so.
But kind of back to what you said about the Ariana Grande versus Meg Thee Stallion, like if, you know, roles were reversed or whatever. I think it's an interesting thing because think about it, like technically Ariana is older than Meg, but you would never think that. And I think a lot of that has to do with like Meg is known. I mean, she's known for being a stallion. She's tall, she's big, she's in your face. And then there is Ariana Grande, who's known for kind of like making, like, she's tiny. She's like very into like the whole baby doll look. She, and then also just like the general adultification of Black girls and boys is just so prevalent where, you know, where white boys and girls are treated like actual children in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I just, it's just funny because like I think we'd want more answers, like demand more answers if it was somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, and right now we're just like content with this like kind of like weird like storyline going on right now and stuff. So, well, we'll have to see what happens to that. Most likely Tory Lanez is getting deported, right?
I mean, something like he's probably gonna get some sort of like charges or something
like
to that degree.
So like you can't be like shooting people in America when you're from another country. Right?
Yeah.
Future Bachelor Podcast.